My lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome back to Transport Fever 2, and you join me today as we're following along the train that we set up in the previous episode to bring refined oil up to the chemical plant over between Herne Bay and the town of Epping. It's not got a full load as of yet, it's about 90% full, and I've sent it on its way just so we can see exactly how much it's going to make for us, and we can get a pretty good idea as to how much it will make with a full load, because as I just said, we are largely full anyway. However, we're probably not going to ride it all the way to the drop-off point, but I wanted to start on this train anyway. As you see, it's not a cab ride, we're just following along with the pin marker tool that pops up in the information screen for the vehicle itself. So let's bring up the user interface then. So we're in 1941, 107 million in the bank, and a cash flow as it stands of about £20 million per year. So all in all, looking pretty healthy. As we can see there in the information screen for this loco, 232 units of refined oil. We've got space for another 74 units. As I said, I did send it on its way a little bit early. So yeah, we're not quite at 90%, but we should be able to have a good appreciation as to how much money this train should make us. Bearing in mind, of course, it is a very long train. It's got quite an expensive locomotive on it, and the maintenance costs are jacked up on this series. So it may not make a profit, but we can tweak that later on as time progresses. So if we hop off the train and discuss what we want to get done today. So as I said, last time we got all this set up, and we've now started shipping refined oil up here, and this will be our first, not full load, but our first reasonably sized load that we're going to deliver. Today what I'd like to do is connect this over to the goods factory up here. If you remember, we did make something of a start with this track here through this tunnel. So the plan is to finish this off, get it down to the goods factory, and then we'll have a train that runs the plastics up to the goods factory. We'll set up some road vehicles to supply steel to the goods factory, and then the same train, as I mentioned in the previous episode, that brings in the plastics will then pick up the goods, head back down, come down this way. Did I say we're coming down this way? I can't remember. Yeah, we'll come down here, drop off on this platform, and then head back up to get more plastic. So it's doing a bit of a round robin sort of system here. Has our train arrived yet? I would like to see how much it's going to make. Oh, it's not too far. I'll tell you what, let's just go to maximum speed here, just to get the train up into the station as quickly as we possibly can, and then we can see what sort of money we should be looking at here. Okay, so we are just coming alongside now, and I've got the numbers turned off, so we're going to have to do it on this screen. 5 million, and that wasn't even a full load. So I dare say that vehicle should do a pretty decent job. I don't think it's going to be massively profitable because of the journey times and the waiting around to receive the full load over here, but it should hold its own and it should be at least tolerable. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on with this line building. But first of all, I think it's probably a good idea to put the station in place first. That way we know where we're aiming, what we're targeting. So, theoretically then, we only need one platform here, don't we? Because the steel is coming in via trucks eventually. The goods are going to be taken back on the same train using the same platform where the plastics are being dropped off. So, from my reckoning, there's no need for us to have any more than one platform. And just to add a bit of variety, I dare say we could also just use a terminus station. I know I mentioned that briefly in the previous episode, but I do think we will go ahead and do that. We'll use a terminus station at this point. I'm just trying to find a place where we can get a connection, but also ensure that the end of the platform there isn't too submerged into the ground. And I think the best way to do that is to put the station there, get the road connection and connect it up manually. And again, we're not actually going to have anything running down here, I don't think, I dare say. So we can just do a an active connection, even if it doesn't make much sense. And we can also just use the smaller roads because we're not going to have any sort of traffic down here at all. It's just to ensure that there's a connection between the station and the industry, of course. Sort of like that, although that drop off there is pretty awful. Okay, so first things first, as per usual, we will just go ahead and just smooth some of that terrain out there, because it did make a bit of a mess of the landscape, and that's unfortunate. So if we can just deal with that, I'll be happy. And there we go, that looks a lot better. Now, the reason I wanted this to be elevated, or at least not submerged or sunk into the ground in a cutting, is of course the track over here is quite elevated, and the more elevation changes we can avoid, the better we're going to be. So the first thing we want is a line that comes this way, and now that I think about it, we don't need to double track this. We can have it single track. This bit here, because the train is going to head back this way. So from the chemical plant up to here and then up to this line here, it's all going to be one way, and it can be single tracked. So we'll do that, we'll keep it single tracked. No point double tracking unnecessarily. So let's see if we can meet up with that track that we've pre-laid whilst maintaining a tolerable gradient. And as you can see, I've got it set to 2.5% at the moment. This bit here, we are a little deep, so we might have to increase that. Maybe go to 3%. Let's see here. Let's just take you back to there. Now, this is all 75 miles per hour, which is pretty much what we want. And if we connect you into there, what would it look like with a cutting there? That's not too bad, actually. In fact, yeah, we'll take that, and I'm also tempted to take this track or this tunnel back a little bit further and just experiment with having a longer cutting before we head into the tunnel. So if we have the tunnel pretty much level with the rock face right there, I dare say this is going to do something nasty to the terrain, but we can deal with that. Yes, it's done something hideous, as we can see right here. Oh. And oh my word, that's pretty bad. Well, in that case, let's bring this back. In fact, no, let's come the opposite way. Let's have you coming out, and we had this, was it 3%, I believe. So if we retain that 3% slope, or as near as we can, we'll go to 3.2, that's fine. And let's just make sure this is aimed pretty much at that track, and I think there is about fine. And then connect that in. Yeah, 3% there, so that's fine. And now go to a cut-in. Yeah, it's going to do nasty things to the terrain right here, as we can see. But we can deal with that quite easily, I dare say, by just using the smoothing tool here, like that. And then it looks a little bit more acceptable. What we'd also want to do is, using the asset eraser tool, is just maybe get rid of some of the trees around here, like that. How does that look? It's still a bit angular right there, which don't really want that. So what we do instead is use the leveling tool, get the track and just level out either side like this, and then we'll blend it in with the smoothing tool once we've given ourselves a bit of a flat area here, sort of like that. And in fact, let's just take it all the way, in fact, get that bit there. There we go. And now smooth it back out again, and it should blend it in a little nicer. How's that? No, that's hideous. Oh, it doesn't want to do it nicely, does it? Well, we had it pretty nice a moment ago. Let's just try that again. And what I think I'll have to do here is just reduce the brush size here, like that. That's better. And then do the same thing on this side here. How does that look now? That's more acceptable, I think. That is quite a hill there, actually. And it is rising up to go back down again, which doesn't make much sense. Well, first of all, let's just remove the redundant track. As I said, we can have it single track this bit. So let's remove all this track here that we don't need. And that will go back as far as, let's get the track here, not the trees, move trees, there we go. Well, that can go back as far as there, can't it? And that will work. Yeah, that's fine. And we might do something with these two dead platforms right here, or the buffers, just blend them in a bit and try and make that look a little nicer. Now, what I'm thinking now then, because as I said, we were rising up there to come back down, which didn't make a great deal of sense. So if we do a straight run with cutting the entire way, are you still going up to go down? Let's just purchase a track first of all so we can look at it properly without all the gubbins in the way. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, it does go up a little bit and it does come back down a little bit, but it's less aggressive than it was previously. So there we go. Now just smooth the edges of that bit off there and there where we put the second stretch of cutting in like that. And that will work. So this is all coming through. We're connected into this station here. That's fine. Now what we want is a line that comes off here. Let's keep this. What did we have this at 3%? Well, if we match 3% gradient, hopefully the overlap should be okay. Not that you're really going to notice it because we're not crossing over the track, we're branching away from the track. Yeah, I think we can live with that. It looks pretty good. And now we want to get up to our eastern freight line, which is, where are you? Well, I think we'll come in after the station would make most sense. And we're pretty much at the ground level here now, which is great. Can you stay level, and will that give us a nice crossing here? Or are we going to have to do the little flat area either side of the road? I think we'll do the flat area just to ensure we have a nice level crossing. So nice flat bit just there, and that's where the level crossing will be. Let's construct the level crossing first. How's that? That looks okay, and hopefully it's going to look okay when it leaves the opposite side. Let's see. Whoops. How's that? Yeah, that's good. I'm happy enough with that. I can live with that. Now bring that into there. So it's a bit tight there, 57, but 57 is more than acceptable. Our catenary is looking fine. And now we want to come in and connect into the freight corridor right here. So we can just come in. Can we get in just before the tunnel, hopefully? So if we come to about there, I'm trying to get it level with that switch. Like that. And then bring that in just prior to the tunnel. Overlap looks fine. And we don't need to go onto the other track because it's all one way down here, so that's all good. That works. Just hide that bit there. There we go. And in fact, let's just run all the way along this track here because we've got quite a few cutting and terrain artifacts here, which we just want to get rid of. There we go. And how are we down here? Let's just smooth that a little bit off there as well. All completely unnecessary, of course, but what the heck. Okay, so signals then. Let's think about our signals. What do we want to use? Let's just use a small 2 aspect. So you're going to come out here, come through the tunnel. Where's the dwarf signal? Let's use a dwarf signal in the tunnel. About there. Should be plenty of space in terms of blocking. And then, oh, we'll go for 3. I've clicked it now. I was going to go back to 2, but we'll stick with 3. We'll have a couple on that stretch there. Probably don't need one in the tunnel, but we will want one around about there. And then as we leave, we're coming this way. Let's put one there. We'll have one there. One before the level crossing. And we'll have one prior to where the tracks merge in, just there. Okay then, so in theory now we should be able to get a train that picks up plastics, drops it off here, waits to pick up the goods, obviously we need to bring the steel in as well, and then returns down to here. So let's get that set up. Yes, it's going to be waiting a while because there's no steel being shipped in, but we can tend to that in a few moments. So what colour do we want to make this? Well, we've got brown there and purple there. Let's go for the purple. We'll have this one purple. We haven't used that one yet. So we're coming from Herne Bay branch. We're coming over here to Epping transfer. At Herne Bay branch, we want you to take a full load, regardless of your wait time. Yes, of plastics. At Epping transfer, we want a full load, regardless of how long it takes, and we want you to load up with goods after dropping off the plastics. And then after Epping transfer, you're coming down here. What way are you going to get back onto this line, perchance? So you're going to go... Where's it taking you? Yeah, I saw it there. There it is. It's going... Don't know why it disappears. Yeah, I think it's going all the way down there to turn around somewhere. But what we want it to do... what we're going to have to do is connect into this platform. That's what we need to do. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is. That's fine. It's not going to lose our progress. Get another track now. That comes in... Oh dear, this is going to be awkward. So what we'll have to do is just push this back a little bit. Which is fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Let's just remove that signal right there. Bring that into there. Now we've got room to put in this line, which is going to connect in over there. Just sort that little overlap out there. That's made it worse, actually. How's that? That's fine. And are you one way? I don't think you are. And what we'll do is we'll bring this all the way down here and then have it join in there instead. And again, this is all going to be one way, so that's all fine. So now what we need to do is continue putting our signals down. So this is one way, couple of blocks down here. So if we have multiple trains, which we are likely to do, they have places to wait. And into there. Now the problem we have here... Oh no, because you're only dropping off here. You're not loading anything, so you're not going to block in our refined oil train. So that's okay. And then you're coming out this way, up there, and to the chemical plant. Perfect. So back to the line manager. Line 1. So after Epping transfer, you're coming here. You're unloading here. Unloading the goods, and then you're heading back up this way into Herne Bay branch, and then rinse and repeat. Okay, that should work. So let's call this RC. Interesting. What do we want to call this? Because it's doing several things here. It's not just shunting the plastic; it's also bringing the goods. We'll call it goods production, for want of a better name. And we'll get the train. It can start taking or loading up on plastic. It's not going to be able to pick up any goods for a while, not until we get the road vehicle stretch set up. And what do we want to use here? I think we might go back to the A35 on this one. And we'll not have a long train, but we'll have multiple of them. So yeah, we can handle plastics and goods, so that's great. And we'll go for an 88 capacity. And if we have... Let's get 2 for the time being. Assign them onto the goods production line. And now, while that train's making its way over, we want to get a line from here to here, bringing in the steel. So what we'll do for this is we'll put a new road access point here, making sure it has the connecting paths, which it does. You can come into there. And over here we will have a truck station. Oh, what do we have here? We have all the things. We have the Sauder C-type trucks and the Douglas C49 Skytrain. So we'll probably end up upgrading our trucks in this episode as well. Anyway, back to this. We only need 1 platform because it's only picking up steel. It's not dropping anything off down here. So let's do something like that. Configure it. Station access point there. Connect that in nicely, hopefully. Yes, nice enough. Go down here. Put in a couple of cargo buildings for storage. Like that. It looks a bit lopsided, but it's fine. So it'll come up here. We probably want to use a couple of waypoints here just to make sure they're going the right way throughout all of this. So let's get the waypoint tool. Let's use... I don't know what we want to use here. Let's see what we've got. Let's use a 70 mile per hour road sign. So you're going to come in, come out, come down here. You could probably have a cut through here. A little, it's not a bypass as such, but have a road that's a little bit more direct to the industry. So if you come in there, and then we want to put a drop-off point there. It reaches, that's all fine. And then we want them to come back down this way. So let's give ourselves a waypoint here. And let's use, I don't know, let's see. Let's just use a giveaway. Oh no, that wouldn't make sense having the giveaway there, would it? No, it would not. Let's just use another 70 mile per hour then, that will work. Okay, now new line then. So you're coming from here, loading with steel. We'll use this colour. So load steel. You're coming out that way. You're then coming down to the drop-off, back that way, and then around. Yep, that's absolutely fine. So this will be the steel to Epping goods factory. There we go. So let's get ourselves some road vehicles, then this steel will start being chucked onto here. So buy vehicles, good time to look at the new trucks that we have. You can probably get, you can use the side stakes, which it's faster, quieter. It's not faster at all, it's the same speed. Slightly more capacity and only an extra 4,500, which I think is not too bad a trade-off. And let's go for 25, because we want to have a good supply of steel at all times. And there we go. Okay, so now we should be all set. You are now producing your first units of plastic ready for shipment. That's great. You have a decent amount of refined oil still in storage. It is a 1-to-1, yes. So that's all fine. Our train should be on the way. You're not the train. You can have you got a steam engine, so we're looking for the steam engines out there. Is that it? No. It might not have even come this way, to be honest, and I don't think that it has. No, I think it's taken this way around. Let's see if we can find one of them. We've got 2, if you recall, so there should be 2 flying around somewhere. Is that... well, no, that's going the wrong way. It can't be you. I don't know where they've gone. They'll be around somewhere. I suppose we could just click on the line and find it. Let's have a look. Where are you? Ah, you did go that way. Okay. That's fine then. So you're train number 25 and train number 26 should be behind you. Yes, there you are. Just coming over the river and making your way up the long way. That's fine. It gives time for the steel to start getting taken over here, which is the main thing. Okay then, so why are you not picking up any steel? I did tell you to pick up steel, didn't I? Let's just make sure of that. That's the wrong thing. We're gonna go here. Epping. Oh no, we are picking up steel. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I'd not told them to pick up some weird commodity. Yeah, they're just loading whatever. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, that's fine. There's just not much production for the goods factory at the moment, but that should change once everything else starts to flow through. Let's just speed this up. Let's get these filtered out and on the way. And our first, what is it, just one load of steel being brought over? Yeah, now that's starting to increase. We should start seeing more steel being put out, but it doesn't look like it, which is a little bit annoying, but there you go. You don't have any steel down here? No. Not sure where all the steel's gone. I'm sure it's there somewhere. But eventually that number that is being produced here will increase, especially when this starts receiving plastics as well. But the main thing is I wanted to get those trucks spaced out so they weren't blocking each other at this junction right here, which they won't do anymore. They've all separated off. And this is also giving our plastics train time to get down here. And where are you? You must be getting reasonably close. There you are. So you're going to come all the way down to George Stevenson and then head up that way. Well, that's okay. You'll get there in the end, I am sure. Okay, so that should start working a little faster in the not too distant future, especially when the plastic starts getting brought on through as well. And the fact that the plastic has somewhere to go and there's a whole dependent commodity chain now involved, we should also see more production being targeted for this train right here. 286, so we're already going to be taking more than we did on our previous journey. Oh dear. That's not a good sign, but yeah, I'm not too concerned. We're making enough money, he says, as we're losing 10 million. Yeah, most of our lines are making enough that we can compensate for the time being. And we might just have to come back to it a little bit later. Ah, you're now a level 4 industry. Interesting. That's nice to see. How are we doing for plastic? I've gone the wrong way. 91. So I think that is equivalent to a full load. And in fact, here comes our first, yeah, with 88. So that is a full load's worth already waiting, which is great. So we'll see our first full load of plastic being taken down. That should then trigger more steel demand over here as well, which is gonna, in fact, there we go. Look, we've got, why did you not pick anything up there? Did you leave just after? You must have done. Yeah, well, already, look, before we had one, now we've already got two, so we've doubled our output apparently, which is good to see. I think it was producing 14. Yeah, so that's ever increasing, and that's only ever going to go one way, which is what we want to see. Okay, so despite this being a bit shorter than usual, I think we'll leave it here for today. In fact, no, what we'll do is we'll upgrade all of our trucks, I think. So we got those new trucks, didn't we? So that'd be a wise thing to do to end it. Let's go through. So we want, not that, we want that clicking, and we just want all the ones with a T, which is nice because they're now sorted alphabetically, thanks to that. So the Axbridge Coal Run, what are you using? You're using the dump truck. So your replacement is the tipper truck, and look at that, it's actually not a better choice. Yeah, smaller capacity, so maybe we'll just keep the Opals then. We have a few of the sorters on this line here, of course, so we have them on the map. But that has just reminded me, we did unlock a new bus several episodes ago that I completely forgotten about, what with everything that went on in the interim. So why don't we look at replacing our buses, see if that's a worthwhile change. So here we are, the Sada Tusha. We're currently running the Daimlers. Again, yeah, you're faster, but you lose one capacity. I think we probably want to take the hit on capacity for the increased speed, loading speed, and reduced emissions. I dare say that's a decent enough option. So yeah, we'll swap all of our bus lines, all of the, what are these, the Daimlers, for the Sauda Tusha 8.9 to replace all them. If only for the reason that these look a little bit more like buses and more modern. Where's our nearest one? There should be one flying around here somewhere. There's one. Yeah, it looks more like a traditional, what you'd envisage a bus to look like. The Daimler had the open deck on the roof, which, unless you're on a tourist bus in a major city, you don't often see these days. So yeah, I'm happy enough to make that change, even though we've sacrificed one capacity and no doubt vaporised a whole host of people because they've had to be kicked off the bus. Okay, so that's where we will now end it today. As I said, it's a bit shorter than usual, so I apologise for that, but time constraints and what have you. So what we'll do is we'll wait for this train. In fact, we can jump on it now. And we'll have a... Well, it's not going to be a full round robin. In fact, yeah, what we'll do, I'll go back to what I said originally. We'll wait for the train to get here. Because it's not going to be able to get a full load of goods for a long time, we'll immediately then send it on its way. And then we'll do a round robin trip from here to George Stephenson to here. And depending if the oil train can get up in time, we might also go back there. But if we're waiting for too long, we'll just leave it when we get into Herne Bay, and I'll make that decision in the editing at the end. Let's just see, have you left yet? Ah, yes, you have left. How far away are you? Just keeping an eye on that one in the corner there while we're tracking down this train. Is that you? No, that's not you. You're longer than that. Is this you here? Here you are. So yeah, I think we can. I think that'll. Yeah, that's definitely going to get there before the plastics train gets there. So we'll let this get in here. This will be a good time to see how much money it's going to make, actually, and we'll see it on this screen right here. So for a full load of plastic, you will make us a sum of £1.5 million. Not too bad. It's not the longest journey in the world, so that should do. So we'll send it on its way now, like I said. We'll hop on board and we'll do a round robin trip. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episodes, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise that it's a bit shorter than the usual 30 to 45 minutes, but that's the way these things go sometimes. As always, comments, suggestions and feedback, more than welcome down below in the comments. And as always, open invitation for you to leave any name suggestions that you may have for the various lines, trains, stations, so on and so forth. And of course, those who are pledging on Patreon, they will have first choice when it comes to naming rights if there's two naming suggestions for the same locomotive. I do believe that's only fair. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.